Hey, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us here today for another CTC software webinar. Today, we're going to be doing a follow-up from the last webinar, which was Nexus for managers. Now we're going to focus on our users. We're formerly Hive, rebranded to Nexus. We're going to talk about content management for Civil 3D today. My name's Tony Crick. I'm the Civil Products Manager here at CTC Software. And this presentation is being recorded to our YouTube channel, which you can view again later. It should be up in a few more days. Share it with your colleagues. And if you have any questions as we go along here, you can type them into the question panel live and we will answer them as we go. And if we can't get to them at that time, we will certainly have a period afterwards. And if you would like to see any of our other webinars, you can go to our website and sign up for any future events, and you will get notice of when something else is ready. So with that, let's get going. So content management in the Nexus suite is an industry-leading content management system, and it's developed specifically for the AEC industry, where firms can organize, manage, set permissions, and ensure that the content is kept up to date and available for all of our project participants, even when working remotely. And users can use it for Revit, AutoCAD, PDF, a whole myriad of data, content that you'd like to share throughout your organization. And what this really does is it helps maintain consistency throughout the design process. And it works, by the way, works totally independent of any of our other tools, works straight in your AutoCAD, Revit, whatever. We can upload Words, PDFs. If you have user guides or anything like that company-wide, you can put those there too for reference for your users. So today we're going to talk about, for users specifically, how to simplify some of your content loading and make it more efficient with our content management system, and show you how to easily search for things that you might need in Civil 3D, such as Civil 3D styles, which, as we know, are hard to share at this point. And we're going to show you how that can help to eliminate some of the tool palettes and help for a smoother workflow. And then how we can create client-specific libraries or have libraries and the styles that are within those. So what are some of the problems with sharing content or using content today with straight up with AutoCAD and in particular Civil 3D? Well, many of us, I'm sure, have used Design Center, which it has its place. It's been used for years. I've used it myself. There are good things in there, hard to find. So it's a Windows file structure that just kind of makes things a little bit difficult to find. And then we have our tool palettes, but we find that sharing those, updating them, keeping them current, that also is not the easiest thing to do. And then styles for sure are not easy to share. You can't keep track of them so much. You might have them all in one big drawing and then drag and drop, that kind of thing. And then what about remote users for that? So you got to be connected to the VPN or whatever, and that can be frustrating and also not efficient. And so what does that really do? That drives users to go rogue, and they'll just start mining drawings that maybe they've had in the past, or others drawings that they've had before. Maybe they don't match your company standards specifically, but they're doing their own thing out there. So let's take a look at some of those ways today that make things difficult. So we might have a drawing here, calling it our warehouse drawing that houses everything. You might have all kinds of blocks in there. You might have all kinds of styles, but you don't really need all those styles for a template drawing. So what are you going to do? You're going to keep those. You're going to have a template drawing. You're going to try to keep that up to date. You're going to have all kinds of different styles in here. And that too can be difficult. But if we put them into a content management system where we can easily get at those, then we can keep everybody up to date. And that's really for your content or your CAD managers to do that. What Nexus will do is allow you as a user to more easily access that stuff and be sure that it's up to date and ready to use. So then we have our tool palettes over here, our sub-assemblies, our assemblies, and some other things that we would want to share here from our tool palette. And the libraries just aren't really that easy to maintain and use to share. That can be really difficult also. So let's go back to the PowerPoint here. So what are some of the advantages of Nexus CMS? Well, first of all of your content can be in one location. So we can grab things out of there. Like I mentioned before, we can have AutoCAD content, which can include blocks, scripts, macros, Lisp routines. And then we can put all of our Civil 3D styles in there, and we can ensure that they're up to date. And then it makes searching for anything we need much simpler and totally independent of folders altogether. And it's library driven. So let's take a look at Nexus. And for those of you that haven't used it before, when you first open it up, you're going to get a screen that looks similar to this, if not exactly this. So it's going to open on the home page. So some of the things we have over here, we have our search function, our saved searches, add request. Adding content would be something more really for your CAD managers to do. You can make suggestions on things to add. And we have quick access to all of our saved searches right here. So these little indicators here are things that have been saved by, let's say, a CAD manager or somebody in charge of your content. And these are all, should be all approved and ready to go for you. So you can jump right into those. And we have our save function over here. We have our about, which has some of our other settings in there, our own personal user settings. We come in here and toggle these things on or off, set how many we want to view, however you'd like to see it. That's independent of your CAD manager, just how you like to use it there. So some of the ways we can save some time with using this. So on our home tab right here, I can come to my saved searches right here, and I can start, if I wanted to start a new drawing, we don't need to have this path. I'm going to slide that off to the side. We don't need to have this path anymore with our options, in our options tab, to go directly to our template drawing. So when we start a new one, if we're going to start something new, we don't have to come here. We don't have to start picking through and wondering if that is the latest, greatest, where is it path to, and that kind of thing. So if we have our Nexus, these should be set up by your CAD manager and ready to be used at any time for whatever content. So let's open this civil design one right here. So this right away opens just like a drawing template We have drawing one. You can save it as however you want to do. All of our typical settings are in here. See what we have for point styles, for instance, all of our point styles that are there. Things are ready to go. It's our drawing template. After all, this is what we're going to use to create our drawings from. But what if we come in here and we start picking through these things and we see, or we need to use something and we see that it isn't there? For instance, we use a lot of standard, but for whatever reason, it got taken out of this, this template drawing. So we have that in a library. Get my Nexus back here. There it is. Okay. So we can have that in the library. If we come right to our home tab right here and I click on libraries, I can see a whole bunch of libraries that are in here that are for me to use, that are set up, again, by your CAD manager with access for you to use these. So this is what we talked about before, this warehouse drawing. So if this has everything in there, all the content of everything we could ever possibly want to use, we can come and we can get things out of here. So if I open up that library right there, we can see we have, I did per page from my settings 42, so I'm seeing 42 of 2,033 items. And right away we can see our Civil 3D stuff here with our icons, just like from our tool palette over here. We see our points, for example. So we know what they're used for. We know their point marker styles or whatever. So they all match everything you've seen before. Over here, all of our labels have these tags and our points, marker styles, that type of thing. I should have pinned that to the top. I'll show you that in a second when I get it back. So another thing we can do, if we have this on a two-screen system, if we click this right here, it will stay open and on top every time. So even if I come in here to look to see, am I missing something? Do I want something? It will remain here. So let's show you a couple of ways that we can do some easy searching. So we noticed up here, as we said, for whatever reason, our general label style, oops, in our notes, standard for whatever reason seems to be missing. So we can start to search for that to see if that is in here in our warehouse drawing, that we can go get it and make sure that it's part of our active system. So over here we have our search area. So this is telling me what library am I looking in. The one we picked from the home page is right here. We can also access all of the other libraries at any time. We can search multiple libraries if we want to. If I switch this off and I say apply, this is going to show me the content from every library that is available to me. So there's 8,972 pieces of data content in here. So you can see how that could get pretty difficult to find things. So we have this up here. We can do some searches. So I'm looking for standard. I think I can just probably type stand and we'll get, so we're going to get a whole bunch of things that are stand. If I take that down a little more, I'm going to see things that are standard. But we don't care about all this other MEP stuff, all this other Revit stuff, all this other content for the most part right now. So you can see we're still seeing a lot of content. So how can we get that down even further? So right away, I'm going to click AutoCAD content only. So right away, if I say apply, all I'm seeing is AutoCAD content. If I scroll down, I'm seeing 84 pieces of, or 151 pieces of content that's all just related to standard, by the way. If I clear that, now I'm going to get 2,200. So that's kind of a lot. But we know we know what we're looking for, right? We know we're looking for label styles and notes, and we know that that standard is probably missing from right there. So in here, we can come here and we can set this to what we're looking for, and we can refine this even further. We can do some filtering right here to help us make things more efficient. So we know it's a general note style, and that is right there. So I can just click this. If I wanted to see any of these other ones, I could click those, of course. Let's see what's in here. So as I click that, and then check apply up here, now we're getting things narrowed down. And there I see my standard right there. If I still had my filter up here on, bingo, I found it just that quickly. So from here then, I can get some other info from it. So I can get some details from here to see, is this something that I should be using? You know, before you start using it, and if you've got questions on it, we can see it was added by me as a CAD manager. And when I updated it, and we know some more information about it, anything you can pull off that style info you can get from right here. So we know that that is probably the one that's good to go. So if I click load, should have gone in there. Let's see if it did. Yep, there it is. Ooh, that quick. I thought I had to refresh. I didn't. So you can see it loaded just that quickly. And we can do that for all kinds of things. Now that's a Civil 3D style. If I just type up here for, let me clear this. First I'll click this and I'll apply, clear this, and now we can see all the styles we're looking for. So anything we want, if we want like, if we're looking for any profile styles, and they can be label styles, what have you. So some of the things that were searched for before you saw there in profiles. So all of these are profile styles. If I just want to profile label styles, oh, then these are in the general too, by the way, because that filter held. So if I clear that and hit apply again, so we have label styles, we have some actual profile view styles and other things like that. So again, we can come right in here and we can filter this down to profile. If we want profile label styles for curves, let's see what we need for there. So if I click that and apply, now here's all my curve styles. And we can load any of those from there that we think we need that aren't in our template. So some pretty easy ways to see if these are approved. They might be noted, marked. Some of these are out of the box, and some of these will be some that are made in-house by you to use. So if you have libraries, let's just say I'm searching all libraries right now, but if you have a library that is specific to an organization, you might have certain profiles, label styles that you use for one of your clients or organizations and not for the other. Well, you can have a library for that. That's only going to look there as well. So another way to keep things in order and easy to manage. But we talked about we could do other things. We could search for other things. So we can find out what assemblies are out there, for example. And I need to uncheck that to see all of them. Again, I can hit apply. So I'm seeing some other different styles of things. If I just want to see my assemblies, again, I can come in here, delete that. I can click on just AutoCAD assemblies to see just those. And from there, we can just drag and drop those right into our drawing. So we can pop that in just like we did off a tool palette. We can drag them, they're ready to go. All the data is there, we can edit those, add subassembly parts to it, whatever we need to do. And then if we did that, we can save this search as well. So how would we do that? So click the Save button right here, and it's going to ask us if we did some refinement to it. We could certainly overwrite our searches. So these are my own searches down here just for me, that are available just for me, as they're not shared with this little icon guy. So I would just say new right here, and this is going to hold all the filtering functionality that we did over here. Give a description here. Something like that. Hack assemblies, how about S's? Let's spell it like that today. And we hit save right there. So now I can come here and I can go to my saved searches, and I can pick those right out of here. I can use the tree, and I can come to the bottom, and we can see some of the other things that have been saved here before, such as this. So maybe I have some legend block tables that I like to use. So I can grab those right there. If I'm looking for any other blocks that I would like to drop into my drawing, again, we come back over to this side, and I can just hit my AutoCAD blocks. I take that filter off and that filter off. I say apply. And these are all the same blocks that are going to show up in your design center. Everything that I can see in here, I'll pull this off to the side. Anything I can see in here for my blocks, they're all already in my content. But this is, of course, my warehouse drawing, and probably not the best way to do it. If I want to find something in here, I got to, pan through it or use this, what I don't like, there's kind of cumbersome search functionality they have here. And it's a lot of blocks. It's 341 blocks in that drawing. And they should be, by theory, all in here. So if I'm just looking for a hydrant, let's just say to use, now I can use any one of these hydrants. And again, I can hit my details and see when was it last updated. Is it ready to go? Looks like I updated this morning already. So we know that one's probably good to go. We have some of the same things that come here. We see what is all going to be included with that. If we see something amiss there, we can fix that or know that it's going to be an issue and contact whoever we need to, or fix it and let our CAD manager know that that ain't working right. So we covered our searches. Let's see, what else did we want to cover today? So the loading, how we get it out of there, how we search for things. We found things off our tool palettes, and then we talked about how things can be client specific if you would need them to be, which is probably a pretty good practice to get into. So with that, kind of a quick basic runaround. I have a question here from Tom. It says, will re-importing a Civil 3D style from the CMS reset the style settings? Re-importing it, yeah, if it's updated, if it gets updated, I think I'm hearing your question right, Tom. If it gets updated into the library, you see something that is in your drawing that doesn't quite match, you would just simply come here and hit the reload. So yes, you can get that and reload it, and it's good to go, or update it right here. Actually, that's for managers, my fault. You can update it from right here. You hit the update button. So this would be if you want to reload the content from another drawing, but once it's been put in the template, yes. I hope I answered your question. So let me jump back here. In conclusions, oops, I got this pinned to the top. Let me pull that over here. So conclusions today for CMS, it can eliminate, or will eliminate, some tool palettes, such as assemblies and blocks. It works really powerfully for stuff like that. We can find our specific Civil 3D styles really easily. And then we can have a library that contains just the content we need for clients, or the full warehouse, as you saw, to pull from. And then we can save our searches. Let me just go back real quick and talk a little bit more about our save searches, because I don't think I really covered that. Let me close my design center. Let's just do that again with our searches. If I have these searches here, I can, so I've done one for just point styles, let's say, something you might need to search for, and I mentioned it hangs on to all the filtering that you have here. So it's pulling just from the point styles. It's already pre-selected right there. It's pre-selected, and I'm getting all of those. If I refined it further for survey points, or if I just had general COGO points, we could do that too. So some of the powerful things with our saved searches. So again, in conclusion, oops, let me unpin that. There we go. We save our searches for future use. Okay, it says, what about, I have another question here. What about gravity and pressure pipe parts lists and updating object layer settings in drawings? Well, okay, the whatever you use for that style, whatever content is loaded, whatever content you have loaded within that style, it will come in and update it, yes. We don't have access to our parts catalogs yet. We are working on stuff like that. And in the future, stay tuned, we should have that. But for now, that still has to be run through your Civil 3D, or we do have some ways of updating and changing things like that within our project suite. So we have our design tools, our project suite for CMS has some specific part stuff in there for both pressure pipes and gravity networks. So one more question I see here before we end this is it all in clouds? Yes, this can be all cloud hosted or can be local hosted. That's up to you or your CAD manager, really. I could show you in a second here where you would know that. So don't use profiles to update content. Let me get to that in a second here. And let me thank those of you that joined us today who aren't interested in the rest of these questions. I appreciate your time today, and go to our website to sign up for future events if you would like to see more of this.